Hi everyone, I'm Vone Kevitz, knit and crochet designer for one-of-a-kind makers who dare to be original. And I'm going to give you a couple seconds to find me. Hopefully some of you who will join me today. I got a fun topic. Well, fun and maybe depending on how you feeling these days, if this is a fun topic or not. Actually, it is a fun topic. It is a very good topic. All right, let's open with prayer while I give you a chance to find me. Dear Lord, thank you so much for another amazing hour that we're going to have together with my creative, ridiculously talented creative friends. And I am super grateful for the time that we have together. I'm super grateful for the wonderful year that you've given me. I've been doing a lot of reflecting, and now it's an even bigger reflection because we're leaving a whole decade, which I've never sat in intention to look at until this point. So Lord, thank you for all of your blessings, and may you touch the hearts and be with all of your children who need you most at this wonderful time of the year. In Jesus' name, amen. Hey, Ellie, so glad you can join. So did you see the title that I posted? Morning, Kathy. Oh, so glad. My two favorites. My two Saturday morning favorite friends. Y'all, I've been making a lot. Can you guess? Can you guess what this is? This is the second one. Fingerless gloves. So I have a bunch of friends on my list. See, I can go ahead and reveal this for my good morning, Bonnie. I can reveal this because I highly doubt they're watching any of these, so I don't think I'm spoiling any Christmas gifts. But do you like? Look at how cute. I got this pattern. There's a YouTube video. When I find it, I will leave a link in this description so you guys can go find the YouTube video and make a bunch of these yourself. I just adjust it because I make all kinds of yarns with all kinds of hook sizes. Yes. And I can't think of her name. And it's like my go-to pattern. Like every time I'm about to whip up some quick fingerless gloves, I see a bunch, but this one I love and it's so easy and I remember it. And then I just need like a quick tutorial reminder, and then it all comes back to me, and then I just make a whole bunch. But I'll find the link and I'll leave it below. And then I just adjust the size. I adjust the numbers. This is what's great about it because you do the double crochet foundation going this way, and then you do the post, and then you go up, and so you can measure your wrist. I have like smaller hands, so I tend to make them slightly bigger depending on who I'm making it for. But okay, I still have to weave in the ends. You know how I love weaving in ends. So this is for another one. These are for you got a pair in progress right now. Nice. Oh, Andrea's, is it the crocodile? Are you doing Andrea's crocodile pattern? Is she the one with the crocodile pattern? Like crocodile skin? Is it the scale with the scales? Is that her? I have so many maker friends. Because for two amazing designers who gifted me, look at what they gifted me. I got this in the mail the other day from Etsy. It's a yarn bowl, and so here's the yarn, the curling size, and so this yarn bowl is from Etsy, and he's the cutest thing. So I'm already working on a project for Pamper Treasures for next year. Oh yeah, oh good. My brain is working, Kathy. So Andrea with the crocodile skin. Yes. Anytime my brain works, I'm always celebrating. Speaking of brain, oh boy, there's so much to talk about. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic today is because what's today? January. Listen to me. I'm planning for January. So December, I just want to look at my date. December 14th. Oh, look at that. I have to go to the library later on. December 14th. So if you follow my bullet journal, I figured out my weekly. Where's my weekly? So my weekly layout is where I list all my tasks, Monday through Friday and Saturday, Sunday, and then shopping list is the one corner, right? So I've been doing this for a while with all the tasks, but I started realizing I really like my task on my daily. So I think I'm going to leave my task out. I'm going to still create a weekly, but I'm going to do that for work. So this way, when I'm at work, I just have my weekly tasks open, right? And so this way, my work, I'll have this page open all the time, and then I'll have all my tasks for the week, but about work. And I think that's going to work out better because then my daily tasks, I think I'm going to keep in my daily setup. And my daily, I still like the hours. I'm listing the hours, and then I write my calendar, so in case I have any appointments, or I like to jot down what I'm doing. I'm trying to track my time better, and so. Oh, I know, Kathy, the yarn holder is awesome. I'm calling him the kid because it's from a Kate from Taya. So I was like, I'm either gonna name it Yate or Kaya or the kid. And so this little pug is the kid. I think it was supposed to be a pug, but it looks like he could be any dog, And so I'm tracking down my time. So and then I write my dailies, and these are my goals and my gratitude that I do every day, which let me tell you, so I did something last week. My model and I tried to, my model is an amazing artist, but she's a novice and doesn't, and so she always doubts herself. And so she has this dream to be an artist, but it's like, deep, deep, deep in her, and every time she's about to, she'll get the supplies, and then she doesn't have the time or doesn't make the time. And I also, so I had this dream. So if I want to be a designer, I want to be one of those designers where I could just whip up a sketch, just whip up a sketch of what I want to design, and I want to be one of those designers, So I want to practice my drawing and practice me drawing figures, and so I could draw the item that I want to design, right, in my head, and I want it on paper, and I want to be one of those designers that can just draw. Well, that doesn't happen overnight. That takes practice. And so every time I would try to do it, I'm like, oh, I'm not good, and then I don't bother. But the dream is still there. I still want to be one of those people. I want to be able to whip up my designs if I have a design in my head, right? So the only thing I can do is practice. And so I've been wanting to do it forever, and then I never make time because it's my low priority at the time. But every time I want to do it, it becomes high, and then it's too late because I don't have the skill set, right? So last week, I came up with a contract. I said to my model, I'm like, now every day you and I are going to draw something, and we're going to send pictures every single day of what we drew today, And we did that starting last week. And every single day I've been drawing something, and then I will take a picture and send it to her. And she draws something and she takes a picture and sends it to me, and we've been doing it every single day, and it's really been helping. So this was one of the drawings, in case you're wondering. This is a whole bunch of other ones that I've been practicing. And look at, if you recognize, this is my latest. This was yesterday's. So that would be this bad boy and the yarn inside of him. I had a picture earlier. So basically what I've just been doing is following pictures, my pictures. So I've just been practicing that way. And I don't even know, why did I pick up this book? Oh, I picked up this book because last week Marie Forleo was doing a decade in review. So every year she does on her YouTube channel, a year in review. But because this is a full decade, she's like, let's go through a whole big decade in review. And I said, I never sat down and reviewed my last decade. And usually I like, I'm an information hoarder, so I'm always watching. Let me go find, instead of flipping, let me find my index so I could find that page. Decade Review 63. I need to use my index better. I write everything down when I'm ready to look. So I'm an information hoarder, so I like, thank you, Kathy. I'm a very new drawer. I used to draw when I was little and when I was in high school. And I think I even got an art award at one of the shows, but I stopped because it was a 2D art, and I guess it didn't, like, once I learned to knit and crochet and became a 3D creator, 2D just didn't cut it for me anymore, so I stopped drawing. And the other thing is, I told myself I wasn't creative because I always had to look at what I was drawing. I never could just whip up an image from scratch. I always had to see it and then draw it. And so I always thought that I wasn't a good artist or I wasn't creative because I needed to copy something. Isn't that the funny? This is how we tell ourselves the stories, right? The stories that we like to tell ourselves to limit us. But that's true. That's why I never pursued it. So I'm an information hoarder, and I like to listen to great ideas, but I never apply it. So lately I've been trying to sit down and applying these things that I'm learning about, right? So I actually sat down and did her decade in review, and she basically said, write down the things that you're most proud of in part one, and then what lessons did you learn in the last decade, right? The lessons that I learned, we share about all that stuff, about all the, all my shortcomings. But I wanted to talk about the things that I'm most proud of. And I want you guys to sit in this thought with me for this hour that we have, 45 minutes now, that we have together, and just sit down and think about the last 10 years. What are the things that you're most proud of the past 10 years? And go ahead and share some with me. Write it down in a journal. Sit down and think about it. Put it on a piece of paper. Write it down is what I'm trying to say. Get it out of your head and sit and think about it and write it down. Because when I sat down and like the 5 minutes and I started jotting down the things that I was most proud of the past 10 years, I started Vone in 2015. I gave a great eulogy at my grandmother's and my dad's funerals. I created the Dare to Be Original Facebook group. I started a YouTube channel that profits because I make some little money on those ads. Very little, but it profits, right? With 3,000 plus subscribers. I have a doll stranding hair video that is almost at 100,000 views. We're at 97,000 views right now on that doll yarn. Wait, that doll stranding hair video. You know how I show you how to strand hair? That video, a lot of you guys have found me through that video alone. It's almost at 100,000. It's at 97, and I easily, by January, I see this in the hundreds by 2020. John and I are happily married. We're approaching, I think, 15 years in June, coming up in June. I've loved and cared for 5 dogs in this household. We are 2 left, but overall, 5 dogs have been loved in this house. Sparky is thriving as ever, and he's our talking African gray parrot who is 20 years old, 20 plus. He will be in our will. He's a talking African gray. I love my Honda CRV that John got me when I was 33, so that was in 2011. Ooh, Is that, are we at, what breaking point is that? Is it 20? Yeah, 2011 was when he got me that car, and I absolutely still love it. We have 2 paid cars that are fully paid off, no car payments. I have a weekly shopping nights with Now that I absolutely love. That's my model. I have 2 nephews. One of them is coming at the end of this month from my brother. I have read and listened to 30 books about bettering myself every day, and 20 of them came from this year alone. So, so do the math. That means prior to the beginning of this 10 years, I barely read anything. All this actually started, this quest to better myself started in, so if I started Vone in 2015, that means by 2013 was when I started to listen to to podcasts and open my mind to this idea about people pursuing their dreams, about women pursuing their dreams besides having a husband, besides having a family, besides having a day job. They were doing things for themselves that would better themselves and grow themselves. And when I started listening to those podcasts and those ideas of bettering myself and not being afraid to speak my voice and be my own person, like, it started to awaken some inner thing in me that was like, I want more. I want more. I want to be better. I want to be more. I want more out of my life. So I so I was not reading, I was not growing, I was not improving, I was not learning. I thought that when I was done with school, I had straight A's in school, and then when I quit college and couldn't finish, I was done. When I was done with tests, I was done learning. I was done learning. Boy, that was probably the stupidest move that I had made, and I wasted decades on. But I'm making up for it within this past year. I've made up for it within this past year of the things that that I'm learning. And I've befriended like this awesome community of online makers. That's why we meet every Saturday on this YouTube channel, and we get together and we work on stuff, or we do stuff, or we talk about stuff. Sold 97 items in my Etsy shop, considering that I started all this and knowing 0 people on the internet, meaning I was not on the internet at all. When I started Vone, my husband had to open a Facebook page for me so that I could post my pictures of items that I wanted to make and sell online. And then he's still my only friend on Facebook. And everything else that I've had, like, since then, it's through sharing my work. And so people who are finding me, and those 97 sales, like, that's huge. Strangers have found me and made a purchase. Like, that's amazing. Saw something that I was doing and liked it, and then spent their hard-earned money on it. Like, that's giant. For every sale, when they say, when you're buying from a small business, whenever they hear that uh, sale, like, they're doing a happy dance. You've made some human being, like, super happy when you're buying small business, you know? So yeah, I celebrate that. I'm finally using the bullet journal to record my life and live intentionally. This is something I've been wanting to. Living intentionally has been something that's been on my radar for the past 4 years, but didn't know how to contain it all. My brain just has a billion ideas. And then the more ideas I have, the more ideas I have, the more ideas I have. They're just breeding babies all the time of ideas, and I don't know how to contain it. And that's where I have startitis. This is where startitis is real. I'm always starting stuff, and I can't finish because I'm on to the next idea. I'm on to the next new thing. It's really hard. And so figuring out a way to be consistent with a planner and a journal, like, it's it's helped me immensely because it's helping me capture ideas and it's helping me, I never used to like sit down and write things down. Like, my gosh, writing down my goals every day, the same 10 goals every single day, would have seemed so hokey to me. It was hokey to me at the beginning of the year. Only until I started doing it that I was like, holy cow, I'm at the end of the year and I have stronger goals that I'm reminding myself of every single day that I'm trying to pursue. And that's the point of it. That's the point of writing it down every single day so that you keep it on your forefront every single day. And therefore, I don't get distracted. And I did something major this past week. If you watched the last Monday Morning Motivation, you'll find out what major thing I did. I'll share it to you in a minute. But I did something major, and it's honestly changing my life. Like, I have a real good shot in the 20s. Like, 2020 is a real good shot. I just realized something. So I'm 41. I'm like, if I'm on my course to pursuing my best life right now, and I'm about to fast track, I always say, I wish I had started in my 20s. I wish I had did this in my 20s. But it just hit me right now. In a few days, 2020 is happening. Is that the 20s that I was actually thinking about this whole time? So maybe I didn't miss my 20s after all. Maybe 2020 is the 20s that I should have been, that I've been thinking about this whole time. Just think about that. I just realized that. I'm like, whoa, this just happened right here. This breakthrough, this light bulb just went off right here on this live. I learned to knit and crochet, and I'm a master crocheter. Not only am I a master crocheter, but I'm a very prolific knitter. I've knitted cables. Cables. I never thought in a million years that I could learn to knit and crochet. And I do both like this. Like, I flip it one way. I hurt my hands get sore when I crochet, and then I just pick up knitting needles and I'm knitting. And then that loosens me up. And then I get tight with knitting and I go back and I'm crocheting again. And never did I think 10 years ago was that a dream of mine. I always thought those knitters were these magical fairy tale creatures that got gifted with a talent that the Lord did not touch me with. But I was very wrong with that. A belief that everything is figure outable. It's a book that Marie Forleo put out, and I got it earlier this year. It was one of the books that I read and listened to. And it's just a philosophy that there's nothing in this world that we couldn't figure out. Everything physical in this world didn't exist until man thought it up and created it. Everything in this world, technology, digital, it didn't exist. Man created it because they thought of it. They figured it out. And so we all have that same capabilities. When you know that concept, and with the internet, forget about it. There's no topic. If you're ignorant on any topic, that's your decision. That's your choice. With that internet, with that Google, you can learn anything. I actually used it. I was very proud of myself. I used it this week because I was writing down the word every day. And I'm like, is every day 2 words or 1 word? And I was like, I think for half the day, I'm like, what the heck? As every day, one word or 2 word, they both exist. Neither one of them get corrected on Word, on spell checker. And then I finally was like, you know what? Let's Google this bad boy. So I Googled it, and it popped up. The answer popped up instantly because I wasn't the first person to ask for it. That's the funny thing about life. You're never the first and you're not the last. So I Googled it, and then I'm like, every day, when you use the term, every day is 2 words when you're talking about in quantitative time. So, like, I will work out every day. That's time, quantitative. That means 2 words, every day, every single day, But if you write the word like, this is everyday wear, like if you use it as an adjective, that's 1 word. And I was like, I will never mix up those 2 again. because I took the 2 seconds to Google the answer and found the answer. And now I'm smarter because of it, right? There's no topic in this world that you, if you're ignorant on, that isn't your choice to be. So you have full control of that. I have a closer relationship with Jesus. Jesus is my BFF. That's on my bio on every single social media platform that you see. In fact, Jesus is my BFF, is my number one goal every single day. That is my number one. That is the first thing I write when I start my 10 goals. Jesus is my BFF, because I'm reminded that I'm here on this earth for him. So when I remind myself of that, I sit and I act. What would he do? It's in constant, and I'm not perfect. I'm not sin free. I'm not anywhere any near any of that. But because that's my number one goal, I try really hard. And when I fall, I get back up and I try really, really hard again. And when I fall, because I do, I get up and I try really, really hard again. You know? And that's the thing about these goals, putting it in front of you every single day. I have 2 more. I signed up for, I did a Conquer Club that I was 2 years in, and that was a couple of years back, and I'm no longer a part of that. But the time that I spent there, a part of that group, was it helped me. It reminded me that I invested in myself. I didn't have the money at the time, and I didn't recoup at the time what I had paid for in investing in myself for doing that, but I was better for it because I was surrounded by entrepreneurs, like millionaire entrepreneurs, that were pursuing their dreams and living lives. And the reason why I stopped pursuing is because they were going in a direction that I wasn't, it wasn't resonating with me, because they're not Christians, and they were, the leader was very, she probably was an atheist, if I had to put anything, but it was, I was nervous that the things that she was teaching outside of business was, it wasn't resonating with me, because I want to be with a community of Christians, because that helps ground me with my beliefs. And so I didn't want to be pulled any other direction but to be pointing towards Jesus. So I left that group with that decision. But I was grateful for the time that I spent with those. And there is a lot of, it was great to be reminded to be in a community of women that were pursuing their best lives and making a lot of money doing so. And I also paid for B school, which is for life, and that's with Marie Forleo. And every year in March, she goes through the course again, and then I go through the course again. It's for online marketing, and it helps me. And every year, I never really completed, but this is the year. This is the year that I will be completing it in 2020, because I actually have one single goal that I want in 2020, and that is to write a book and put it out and get it published and put it out. So I have one single goal, and that is that. And that is my decade in review. And I did that in 5 minutes at work, because it just came up in my head. If I really sat down and really thought about all the amazing things of 2020, or for the past 10 years, like, I probably could have came up with more, but these were just the ones that rose to the top because I just did. So I really want you guys to sit down and take the time to review your last 10 years of what you were proud of. I drew all the time as a child, Ellie. I had a big art bag I carried around. Really? I swear Ellie and I are like soul sisters. And she's living my dream life, hugging those lambs and those goats every single day in her farm. She's from Sanko Farm, guys. Go check out her stuff. She's dyeing yarn. Ellie, your dyed yarns are looking amazing. They're looking amazing. I know she's working on an Etsy shop. So definitely go check out her work once it gets going. Lori, 1,000,000+ mile accident free, quit smoking, and quit unrealistic expectations for myself. Oh, I love that. I love this, Lori. Speaking of quitting, I will be talking about this in my book. Do you all know that I'm an addict? Do you guys know that I have a serious addiction, like personality? I have a seriously addicted personality. It is the reason why I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I don't do drugs. I did never never experimented with drugs, never smoked. Tried a little drinking, got really, really sick, and then didn't pursue that course. I could probably count in the time of my hands that I put alcohol in my body. I'm 41. But I get addicted to just about everything else under the sun if I'm not careful, including knit and crochet, including this. But this addiction is a healthier one. This addiction, not a healthy one at all. And this addiction took a lot out of me, took a lot of time, took a lot of everything out of me. And one of the biggest things that I was in the beginning, I was addicted to social media. I capped that off, addicted to all the things that this had. But the biggest thing that this formulated in me was phone games. I got so addicted to these phone games that it just controlled my life. It controlled my thoughts. It controlled my mornings. It controlled my evenings. It controlled my days. It controlled everything to the point where I couldn't create. I had, because all I would wanted to do was play my phone games. And was it last week? Last Saturday. Was it last Saturday or the Saturday before? Last Saturday, I didn't come on live because I had a phone. No, I had to get a car oil change. And then I had a meeting, which got canceled. But therefore, I just didn't want to I didn't want to stress about the oil change and rushing back. And it turns out I couldn't do it anyways because the oil change did take longer than necessary. But I'm all ready for the winter. Was it last Saturday or was it the Saturday before? It had to have been. I think it was no, because Thanksgiving I was deep in playing games. It had to be last Saturday. Last Saturday, it was last Saturday. Last Saturday, I just made the decision where I just texted my brother. I heard somebody very close to me is in trouble right now, and she is addicted to alcohol, and she got caught with her addiction to alcohol. And I love this person, and I want to help this person. I don't know how to help this person, and I feel bad for this person. Like, I feel really bad because she's a good person, and she loves her kids, and she wants to do well, but she's got a problem. And instead of me like reaching out, go, I know about your problem. I didn't want to add to her embarrassment of her problem by letting her know that I know that she has a problem. I just didn't want to be, because I know that she cares about what I think. So I didn't want to be the person to add to that to add to that pressure. So all I did was last Saturday, this because this happened around Thursday or Friday. And then on Saturday, I realized something. I was like, the best way that I can help this person is to be there for her by showing her what taking care of an addiction looks like. And so it started to, like, instead of me like pushing my thoughts and ideas on her, I had to seriously sit and look at myself and go, what? So it's easy for me, who never drinks, to say that, you know what I mean? Stop drinking, you're ruining your life. But I choose not to drink because I know I have an addictive personality. I know that if I ever did drink, if I ever like did it occasionally, at some point, it will ruin my life. It will control my life, and I won't have any control over it. Just like I don't have control over coffee. Just like I didn't have control over coffee. I didn't have control. I still am struggling with my sugar addiction. You know what I mean? Just like I'm still like that's why all year I've been trying to eliminate things that are controlling me. So I love this last 90 days when we're like picking up categories of food, like, you know, choose to omit a category of food, not because you want to look pretty, not because you want to be thin, but to tell yourself that you can do something, that you can, when you set your mind to do something, you can do it. The item doesn't control you, you control it. So I love the fact that I've been slowly working that muscle, flexing that muscle by, you know, cutting my coffee addiction, cutting my cream and sugar addiction, cutting my vending machine addiction, and this month is processed foods, working on that and saying no to all the treats at work that show up. And believe me, Christmas time, everything comes into that design studio, everything. Chocolate covered pretzels are my downfall, and I've said no to it all month. I said no to it actually all 3 months now, since October, since we started this. And now it's easier and easier. So the only thing I had left were these games that were controlling me. And I loved showing up in these games because one of the teams that I was in was called Jesus. It was the team of Jesus. So I was like, we're a bunch of Christians playing this game and we're helping each other out, and we're, you know, and it like I rationalized it thinking it was a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, let me get on this game. Before you know it, it's 20 minutes, it's an hour. Before you know, I'm late. I'm up way too late. I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm like, and then during the day, I'll come home, I'll sit down, and after we eat, I'll pick up my phone, I'll start playing, and before you know it, it's like 3 hours have gone by and I've done nothing. And I was like, that's an addiction. That's pure addiction. And especially, so I knew that come 2020, when I want to write this book, if it comes down to me getting up and opening this laptop and this bad boy, who do you think is going to win? My dreams and goals for writing a book, to do God's purpose, to help show women to create and be creators because we're made by the image of our Creator. When I want to write this message and all this good knowledge that I have, what would I do? You think my laptop's gonna win, or this bad boy is gonna win? So it hit me, and I'm like, I need to get rid of this. So I woke up and I messaged to my brother. I said, I just finished listening to Atomic Habits by James Clear. Awesome book. Awesome book. Go get it. Go listen to it. Go read it. It's an awesome book. Atomic Habits. It's about doing small little habits, conquering little steps. And then it builds into a big, massive thing. And my atomic habit is deleting the phone games. So I messaged my brother and my sister and I said, you guys, I just finished Atomic Habits and it's so good and I'm getting rid of my phone games. I announced it to my brother and sister because we all have addictive personalities. My dad was an alcoholic. We all have addictive personalities, and so I wanted to share that knowledge with my loved ones. But I also wanted to tell them that I was doing something to better myself. And I was like, there's a way out of this. All of us have addictive personalities, and there's a way out of it. And so I said that was my step one. My step one was get rid of my games. And then I went to my husband, and he's my last. So these are my walls, right? I tell myself, and then I don't show up for myself, right? I tell myself, and I'm like, you're gonna do this, and then I back out because I don't hold myself accountable very well. This is why I like accountability partners, like me sending pictures every day with my model, because we signed a contract with each other that we will be sending pictures out every day, so we can force ourselves to draw and do something we want to do for ourselves, show up for ourselves. So I'm my first line of defense. My second line of defense is you guys, the public. Like, I share it. So I did it. I made the announcement, and then I shared it on social media. On Instagram, I did something super scary, and I was like, you guys, I have an addiction problem, and I'm getting rid of it, and I'm taking care of it right now. And I'm going cold turkey. I'm not. Here's the one thing. When I chose to leave, and I told my team, I told my teammates, my Christian teammates, that I'm leaving the game, and so I was one of the top contributors, so I'm sure they were very upset that I left. That because I was on it all the time. That I was going to be leaving, and I had a really bad addiction, and this was my last game. I was down to one game that was really, really important to me, and that I really, really loved, and I just quit it. And then later on that night, because it was bothering me that I didn't tell the team that I was leaving, I re-downloaded it back on, just so that I can message the team that this is why I was doing, so I didn't die or drop off the planet or anything. And then they wished me luck, but they also said, they're like, oh, you could do it in moderation, and I'm like, no, I can't do it in moderation. There's no right time where I could set it, where I could like click a dinger off. You know what I mean? It's like it's like an alcohol and a drug addiction going to yes, their addiction is real problems, and that was the one thing. That's why I was like, so I made the so I and I'm not saying I'm not comparing my phone game addiction to alcohol or drugs. Like, I'm not even, or smoking. I'm not like, where those are chemically, you know what I mean, 1,000 times more potent and powerful to the brain, seared in the brain. Those addictions are even more, because there's a chemical enhancement on top of that. Mine is just pure dopamine hits with a phone game. With alcohol and drugs and smoking, those are actual chemical inhibitors, and that affect it even further. So it's very different. And I'm not comparing it any which way. And that's actually the point. That was actually the point of me doing it, was if I couldn't get a hold, because I said to my husband, I was like, I'm getting rid of my phone game. He's like, really? He's like, why? Because he knew how much I enjoyed it. And he goes, why? And I said, because I can't ask my friend to try to better her life by getting rid of alcohol, by stopping the one thing that's ruining her life and her children's life and her future. I can't ask my friend if I can't control what I'm addicted to. And that's why I was like, this is my step one into helping her, is by showing myself what I have control over, and therefore I can be an example to her what control over your addictions look like. Do you know what I mean? And that's the only reason. That's the only reason why I'm sharing the story. And that's the only reason why I did it. I did it because I knew that this was controlling my life, and it was ruining my life, and it will continue to ruin my life, because I have 2 patterns that I was supposed to release come like months ago, that I've just been putting off. And you know what I mean? And I could say a billion reasons, and there are a billion reasons, but I'm telling you, this reason alone was probably holding everything back because I couldn't move forward because all I wanted to do was play. Do you know what I mean? And until I stopped, and now I'm a full week out, my brain is just like have opened up. My mind has just opened up. My time has opened up. My heart has opened up. Like I think clearer, I see clearer. Like I can't tell you because I don't have that fog, that memory, that fog over me that of that desire to do this. You know what I mean? It's very different. I'm literally walking around like fog free. I was addicted to phone games way before and I stopped it. I stopped it a long time ago. And because I stopped it, you know what I replaced it with? I replaced it with podcasts and I replaced it with audiobooks and learning about different things. And I replaced it with that with this knowledge to improve myself. I replaced it with YouTube videos to grow myself and find out ways to clean my house and to clear the clutter so I can clear the clutter, and clear the clutter so that I can create. And then in that space, I learned that I could sell online and make Vone knits. And that's when I created that online shop. And then I started a YouTube video in a community. That would never have happened. Vone knits would have never happened had I not stopped playing Candy Crush. And I stopped it. I was at level 2000. I was really high, I was in a deep high level and that game like controlled me. I would spend weekends playing it nonstop, never cleaned the house, never did anything other than play. And then I stopped it. And then I replaced it with all those good habits. So here I am. I don't know how it started. Actually, I do know how I started. My model said in her innocence, I found this game that I'm addicted to. And it's like you do a farm. And I heard my sister about Farmville, and I was like, no, I'm not playing any farm games. No. Well, I started a little bit. Well, Hay Day happened, and she stopped because her fiance said, you're addicted. You need to stop. And so she did. She had a better control sense of herself, but she doesn't have addictive personality. She can quit things. I didn't quit. And here I am 2 years later with even more like intricate games, with even more games that I got even better at. And I'm one of those high functioning addicts where nobody knew I was an addict. I'm one of those high functioning addicts where I can hide it and I can still be productive and I can still do things, but in the back of my, you know what I mean? Only the ones that really knew me. But even my model didn't even know that I had still been playing games because I hid it from her. Because that's what addicts do. We're really good at hiding things. Oh, what's happening? What am I missing? We did a pregnancy check yesterday. Oh, with your animals? And Ellie said thank you, but I'm not sure for what. So what am I missing? Alcohol and drug addiction. Are you thanking me for this amazing topic that we've talked about? I don't even know how I even got. This was not a part of my plans to spend our hour together. But I did go through everything that I said in our year review. So that was the big thing. I don't know how we got to, but more on that topic will definitely be in the book. So, yeah, your 10 years, what great accomplishment, what things are you proud of the past 10 years? Because we're leaving this decade. We are entering 2020 in just a few weeks. I think do we have one more week together on the Saturday before we say New Year's? Happy New Year. Do we have one more week? No, we have 2 more weeks. We have 2 more weeks together. So we are the 14th, we are the 21st, and we have the 28th together, and then we're off to a new year. So 2 more weeks together in this wonderful decade of craziness. And the other thing is, did you guys ever hear of the Chinese bamboo tree? You guys know the story of the Chinese bamboo tree? Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years. If you plant a seed of a Chinese bamboo tree, you put the seed in right now. It takes 5 years underground to grow. You don't see anything of it. 5 years underground. You're going to come in for 5 years watering this ground. Your neighbors are going to walk by and go, "What? What are you doing, man?" You know, he goes, I'm watering my plant. Like, for 5 years, nobody sees anything because it's underground. And the Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years underground, and then in 6 weeks, after that 5th year, on that 5th year, 6 weeks, it shoots up 90 feet straight up in the air. In 6 weeks, after that 5 years underground, that seed shoots up 90 feet up in the air in 6 weeks. So the question is, how long does the Chinese bamboo tree take to grow? 5 years or 6 weeks? Of course it takes 5 years and 6 weeks. If you noticed, 2015 was when I started Vone Knits. 2020 is my 5th year. And it just hit me. I'm like, I don't think the Lord could have written my story any better than he has. In 2020, I will be doing this for 5 years. And I'm going to write a book. I'm going to, and I want it published by peers, by a review community, by having, like, I'm not self-publishing it. I want it so good that publishing houses want to publish it. Somebody wants to publish it, and I want it so good that readers want to read it, and then they benefit from it. And that's, bless you, Bunny. And that's 5 years of doing this. And it just blows my mind. So I am, in 2020, the Chinese bamboo tree ready to pop up 90 feet up in the air. And I can't do it showing up with anything inhibiting me. I can't do it showing up and not going full out on pursuing myself. And that is including my health, my diet, my physical. Like, I can't, if I'm not, I have to pursue that. That's why I spent the last 90 days trying to get that under wraps and getting that figured out and getting rid of anything that's not serving me anymore. And because this year is gonna be huge. But it's not just me. It's a whole, it's everybody. It's everybody, because you can start your life today. You can start your life right now and be a brand new person today. And the only thing you have to do is take it. Take the moment. Take the starting point. Jump. Do it. Pursue your best version. Start it now. Do it now. You know what I mean? And don't wait, don't look back, don't look ahead, just do it now. And every day is a clean slate, because that's how the Lord intended it to be. You know what I mean? So that we start the day clean and we pursue our best version. So I hope you guys had a good hour. And if you didn't, since nobody has written on what goals that they, or what things that they were proud of in this past, I hope you guys do that list privately. Sit down. And then the other thing is to sit down and write what you've learned in the past 10 years, what lessons you've learned, because in that retrospect, the things that you've messed up on, or the things that didn't work out, or the lessons, the big lessons that you've learned. One of my big lessons was to not was to lose my Vone Knits website because I didn't renew my domain name and I lost it to a Chinese gambling company. So I had to rebrand, and now I'm under Vone Kevitz instead of Vone Knits. So that was a huge lesson for me to learn. But I was grateful for that lesson because I'm glad that I learned it, because I did want to rebrand. I wasn't sure if I wanted to move forward with Vone Knits, and I think it just, by divine happenings, like by magic, like it worked out well that that did happen. But it was still a tough lesson to learn because that wasn't my choice. It was made for me. Well, my choice was that I didn't renew my domain name. I didn't realize that the website and the domain names were different. And I didn't realize that there were sharks out there looking for used domain names so that anybody that would Google, because my YouTube channel was all about promoting Vone Knits. And so anybody that goes to look for Vone Knits, they're going to go to that Chinese gambling website. So to them, that's new fan traffic, foot traffic that was going into that website. So to them, it was worth the Vone Knits. Now, the people that were looking for me going there and finding that, there were obviously the chances of them turning around and leaving were high, but they were banking on the fact that they had foot traffic at all to go there. So that's why there's companies that do that. I'm just glad I didn't learn that lesson the other way, like that I started off with Vone Kevitz and lost my name and then I had to force myself to change it to do other things. So because there are other people like that, because I've heard of stories about where this one guy, he was a painter and he painted and sold his art online, and then in college, and then as a profession, like he gave it up. But now his name and his name website is now like running like a Thai prostitute ring or something. And I was like, oh, that poor guy. Like at least that wasn't my lesson to learn. So it's 10 o'clock. In Liberty's and Indy's alarm is going off because they need to go outside. So y'all, I hope you have an amazing week. I hope you guys keep creating. Come next week, we'll be able to share our Christmas gifts one last time, that if you guys are making anything. I will be making a Milo doll for my nephew, which I have been wanting to do all year last year, and then I wanted to do it on his first birthday in June, and it didn't work out. But now I have time that I need to make because I want him to have it before his little brother comes into the world, which he's due on the 26th. So he might beat my doll when I gift it to him. So I got to work on that. So I'm kind of excited about that, but it's going to take me a while because it's been a while since I've made it. I'll have to refer back to my videos and watch my old videos on it. But you know, a real quick story, speaking of about next year, everybody. So I made a new friend when I made the announcement of my phone edition. I was giving it up, that I gave it up. A new friend on Instagram messaged me and was like, so like she loved the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. And so I asked her, because this is the thing about me writing this book, is anybody I ask now, anybody I engage with now on social media, the one thing I will ask is, what is your big dream? What do you have? Like, what is your deep desire going on in that pretty head of yours? What and she just said that she wanted to start a podcast, about her story. And I said, well, now's your time. I said, 2020 is our year to do this. And she goes, you're the second person to say that to me. And she goes, I'm going to have to really seriously think about it. I'm like, yeah, you do, because now's the time. Don't look back and regret and wish you had. Do it now. You know what I mean? Go full out now. And a brand new decade is a great way to start. Okay, guys. Now he's got the big brother behind him. God bless. See you guys next Saturday at 9 a.m. And if you are so inclined, come join Sarah and I on Monday at 6 a.m. Where we show what it looks like when we're pursuing our best life at 6 a.m. in the morning on Monday morning. God bless. Bye.